there, welcome into Alumilite Explains. My name is Kelly and we are going over the differences between mica powder, dye, alcohol ink, and pigment paste. Now, those are all colorants that are great for coloring resin and urethane, but here's the thing, yes, there are more out there. I mean, you can use Cheeto dust, matcha powder, Kool-Aid, eyeshadow. I mean, I really wouldn't suggest using those, but I have tried them before. It doesn't work great, but these work really well. So today we are going to discuss and break down the differences between each and every one and explain when you should use them. Because honestly, each one kind of gives you a different effect and we want you to have the best outcome in your project. So let me just put this down real quick. All right, I'm back. So today we're going to give you a really good in-depth breakdown of each and every one of these colorants. But first, I just want to give you a little introduction to each one. So the first one up is mica powder. Now, like the name says, mica powder is a powder. And usually it's going to give you a very metallic or shimmery effect to your piece. The next one is dye. So Alumilite actually has two different types of resin dye. We have a translucent and an opaque. This is a very, very concentrated formula, so a little bit goes a long way. You just need a tiny dab of this to color your whole entire piece. So we will get into that later. Next up, we have alcohol ink. Usually it comes in a little bottle like this that you can drip into your resin or onto your resin piece. And this is kind of interesting because it's a reactive medium. So you can actually just drip drop it into your piece that you're working on and watch it do its very cool blooming effect. Or you can drop it into your resin and mix it up to actually tint your piece. But again, we'll get into that later. And last but not least, we have pigment paste. Now this is pretty cool. It's very similar to mica powder where they'll usually give you a kind of shimmery metallic effect, but it's in a paste form. And this is really nice for people that don't want to deal with like the poofing of powder. And you know what I mean when I'm saying the poofing of powder, when you like open the Ziploc bags and they kind of poof out at you. Anyways, if you don't want to deal with that, or if you don't want to deal with possible clumps of the mica powder, this is going to be a really good option for you. Now that we have our introductions down, let's dive a little deeper into why these are all different. And to explain that, I feel like the easiest way to kind of understand is that all of these colorants interact with light differently. And to show that, let's do a little board flip. Board flip. Ah! Before we dive into explaining exactly how each colorant will interact with light differently, let's go over a few terms that we're going to be using a lot today. The first one is transparent. This basically means all of the light will be passing through the object. So think of a nice clear glass of water. You can see through it, all that light is coming through. The next one is translucent. Similar to transparent, but only some of the light will be passing through the object. So think of a pair of sunglasses. Some of the light will be passing through. You can still see through it, but it's not all of the light. You could also think of a frosted window. That's another good example as well. And then the last term we're going to be talking about is opaque. Now this is where no light will be passing through. So think of a brick wall. You can't see through it, no light is coming through as well. Now I know a glass of water, a pair of sunglasses, and a brick wall seem a little random for examples, but let me show you how they relate back to all of our colorants. For these examples, you're going to notice that we aren't going to be using transparent. Spoiler alert, I know. But you can think of transparent as your cup of resin, your undyed cup of resin. It's crystal clear, you can see through it. When we add any of these to the crystal clear cup of resin, it's not going to be transparent anymore. It is going to be one of these. So let's get going. First, we're going to talk about alcohol ink. So do you have a guess if this is translucent or opaque? If you guessed translucent, you are correct. So alcohol ink is probably going to be the lightest out of our colorants that we're going to talk to today. You can think about it more as a tint. And with all of these, keep in mind, you can make almost all of these transparent if you just add a tiny, tiny, tiny speck of the product into your resin. But when we're going to be matching them to transparent and opaque right now, I'm talking about how people usually use them. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So the next one we're going to talk about is pigment paste. So, any guesses? If you guessed opaque, you are correct. So this one is gonna give you a nice shimmery, metallic, opaque look. This gives you that like liquid gold. Oh, it's juicy, so good. The next one we're gonna talk about is mica powder. And I said before, it's very similar to pigment paste. And you know what? It's going right beside pigment paste. And again, you could add a tiny amount to make it not opaque, but this is usual case scenario when people are using this. And our final two are our dyes. So it kind of gives it away right in the name. This one right here is our translucent resin dye, and this one is our opaque resin dye. So that goes here, and that's gonna go here. So now that you see them all laid out like this, I bet you can start getting the idea of why it's really important to pick the right colorant for your project. So let's dive a little deeper into each and every one of these to see what else sets them apart. Alumilite sells both translucent and opaque resin dye, but here is a little secret for you. You can turn any of the dye into a translucent tint for the project that you're working on. All you do, take a toothpick, dip the tip of the toothpick into the dye, swirl that into your resin and mix thoroughly, and you will have a beautiful, beautiful translucent tint to your resin. So we're gonna skip the even color distribution right now and actually move right to the highly concentrated. So here is the thing, just like I said, dipping a tip of a toothpick into it, that is all you need. Always start with less and you can always add more. We usually say you can use up to 5% colorant in your resin, but pretty much any circumstance you're in with these, 5% is gonna be way too much because this is so highly concentrated. So rule of thumb, start with a little and you can always add more. Another awesome thing with our resin dyes is the even color distribution. Basically, that just means it mixes in really well with your epoxy. That one's pretty straightforward. And then also, kind of going with this even color distribution, it doesn't have any shimmer or particles in it that would give you clumps or anything like that. So you're gonna be left with a really smooth color throughout, and you can make it as bold as you want or as translucent as you want. I want to call out some products that go really well with our dyes. First off, which is actually one of my favorites, is our casting resin. So this is our casting resin that actually turns white. And this, our dyes, it's pretty much the only pigment that really works with it because this does not like water. And like alcohol ink, even some acrylic paints, they have water mixed in. This one doesn't. So you can use it super, super easily with our casting resin. It also works awesome with any of our other clear epoxies and also urethanes. Our clear slow, if we have any turners out there, this is amazing for turning. So before we move on to our next colorant, I just wanted to remind you, a little goes a long way. We need to like underline this with the highly concentrated, which is also really good for your wallet too, because one bottle is gonna last you a very long time. Our next colorant is mica powder. Now we talked before that it's an opaque colorant, but what we didn't talk about is it's also reflective. So think about these tiny little particles floating around in the resin once you mix it all together. So not only does it block the light from passing through, it reflects it. Picture tiny little mirrors all over. So that's what's really cool about mica powder is that it gives you this depth and movement, as you can see right here, since those little reflective particles are suspended in whatever you're putting it in. So if it's resin, it's gonna be suspended in the resin and you can swirl it around and those will actually stay, for the most part, where you swirl them. So you'll get a lot of depth and movement. Another cool thing about mica powder is that you can actually dust it in molds. So what I mean by that is you can take a mold and a paintbrush, a dry paintbrush. You can dip the paintbrush into the powder and just paint the mold. And once you do that, you can tap it out over a trash can just to get any excess powder off. And then you can pour whatever resin you're working with into the mold. And when you demold it, it's gonna have this beautiful, shimmery, metallic shine to it. And I wanted to do a little product call out here. And I am gonna call out our casting resins again. I did say that they're my favorite. So our casting resins, we have white, tan, and black. I have white and tan right here for you. So what's really cool about these, you don't really want to mix the mica powder into the casting resin, but you definitely want to dust the molds with them. But here's the really cool thing, hold on. Okay, we're getting really close and personal here, but do you see the difference? This is actually all the same mica powder. The only difference with this is that I used a white casting resin for this one, a black casting resin for this one, and this one I actually made a gray casting resin by adding dye to the actual casting resin. So what's so cool about mica powder is that it's so versatile. It really depends on what actual product you put into the mold after you dust it. So you can do a clear resin, you can do whatever you like. You could even do another tinted resin, and the mica powder will turn out differently with how it reflects the color that's behind it, if that makes sense. So before we move on to our next colorant, I just want you to remember that mica powder is an opaque, suspended, reflective colorant. So if you want movement and depth, this is the one for you. Next up on our list is alcohol inks, which we have a ton of different colors in our Color Creator gift packs. Like we were talking before, alcohol ink is translucent, and I feel like this is a really good example of how translucent alcohol ink can be. So this was poured super, super thin with our outdoor epoxy. And as you can see somewhat through it, not all the way, but some light is passing through. So this is a great example of what translucent means. What's awesome with alcohol inks is that it's so reactive and there's so much movement in it. And what I mean by that is you can actually drip it into your resin and it just creates this like blooming effect, which is so cool. So you can kind of see in this piece, let's get closer. Wow. You can see this really cool blooming effect that it does. And so how you do it is you take whatever resin you're using. I usually use our Amazing Clear Cast or our Clear Cast Plus. You pour it into your mold and then you just drip drops of alcohol ink right into the resin. You don't mix it around or anything, you just let it do its thing. And while the resin cures, it's gonna move around and create these really cool textures and shapes. So this effect right here, this Petri dish, is an awesome way to use it. Another fun way to use alcohol inks is to actually paint with it. So with this piece right here, actually with all of these pieces, let's see here if I can hold them all. So with all of these, I dropped little drops of alcohol ink straight on the surface. There was no resin on it. And I moved it around with either a heat gun or just blowing through a straw to move the alcohol ink around. And you just kind of play with it and make a really fun abstract piece of art. And then after, you can seal it with resin. So this is another really fun way. And I'll give you a little close up. Hopefully you could see that. Another product that I want to call out is our UV resin. I really like to use our alcohol ink with our UV resin because it's so translucent. UV resin needs to cure with light. So light has to be able to pass through whatever pigment you put into the resin. So alcohol ink makes for a great tint for any sort of UV resin jewelry or any other project that you're working on. And before we move on to our next colorant, I want to give you like a little warning label right here. Do not use our alcohol ink or any alcohol ink with any sort of urethane or our Amazing casting resin because those products do not like water, and there is some water in an alcohol ink. If you think of isopropyl alcohol or rubbing alcohol that you can get at the store, it usually is like 91% or 70 something percent. Well, that rest of the percentage is usually water. So just make sure, do not mix your alcohol ink with anything that is really sensitive to water or moisture. You won't like the results. Now we're moving on to our last colorant that we'll be talking about today, and that is our Color Passion Pigment Paste. Our pigment paste is super opaque and ultra concentrated. So you just need a little bit and it will go a long way. And I would say it's very similar to our mica powder, except this is in paste form. And you know, sometimes with mica powder, you'll open up the bags and they'll kind of do that poof thing on you. You will not have that with this product. Also, you're gonna get very controlled blending since it is a paste and you're mixing it into a liquid like epoxy resin. So when you mix it in, you're gonna get a very bold, smooth, saturated look. And a lot of our colors are gonna be either a metallic or a shimmer. And something that's really cool, specifically about the metallic, is if you mix it in with your resin and you pour it onto, let's say you're making a really cool geode table, and you pour it into your piece, it's gonna start sinking. But when you take a heat gun and add a little heat to it, it's gonna gently rise to the surface and create this beautiful, like, veining texture. I don't even know how to describe it. It's a really, really cool design that adds so much depth and texture to your piece. My really good friend and coworker Jess, who if you've ever talked to anyone on Instagram from Alumilite, you probably were talking to her. Anyways, she creates these beautiful projects using the pigment paste. And we're gonna have some videos, maybe like right now, to show you some of the beautiful work that she's done. Okay, class is almost over. I promise I will let you go. But before I leave, I wanted to leave you with the 3 most common coloring mistakes. So the first one, adding too much color. That's a big thing with especially our Alumilite dyes because they are so concentrated. You just need a tiny amount. If you were working with like a 1 ounce cup, even 1 drop would probably be overkill for your project. So always start with a tiny amount and then you can always add more to get your desired look. Next up, incompatible systems. So I know we talked about this before, but if you take something like a alcohol ink and mix it with something like our amazing casting resin, it's not gonna go well because this has water and this does not like water. So make sure when you're using your colorants that they are gonna mingle perfectly and be friends and not enemies. And number 3, all resins and colorants behave the same. That is false, absolutely. They're so different. I mean, resins in general, resins, epoxies, urethanes, polyaspartics, the list goes on. Those are all gonna behave completely differently. And same thing goes with your colorants. They are gonna behave differently as well. So make sure you're choosing the right colorant for your project. Well, this was my very first Alumilite Explains video, so I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, hit that subscribe button. We would like it. Like the video if you want to. If you wanna be an overachiever, you can even comment. Nice things only, please. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tagging along with all of this talk about colorants. And remember, there's not just one way to color resin or any product that you're using. So go ahead, experiment, have fun. We're gonna link all of the products that we used today in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and I'll see you next time. Stay creative and happy crafting.